What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about the next Battlefield game, which I think it still hasn't been officially confirmed, but it looks like it's just going to be Battlefield 6. We actually just got some official information about what we can expect to see during the beta, even though they haven't announced the beta date officially at this stage. And I will be talking about those official details soon, but before we do that, just kind of a catch up on some other things. According to Insider Gaming, there's actually going to be a reveal event similar to COD Next for this Battlefield next week actually, from July 29th to 31st, where a bunch of creators are going to be flown out, and they're going to be able to play the game behind closed doors for the first couple days, it looks like, and then the actual reveal to the public is going to be on the 31st of July, according to this leak/rumor. So that's actually coming up really soon, and then beyond that, it appears we're actually going to be seeing the beta for this shortly after, and I've been hearing rumors as early as the next day, so the 1st of August, next Friday, over the weekend, which would make sense. Usually betas will be running over weekends, not just during the weekdays. But it is worth noting this isn't confirmed yet. However, even if it's not on the 1st, I suspect it'll be at least early August. They're probably not going to leave too big of a gap after this event before getting it in the hands of the general community. And now this is where we're going to get into the official tweet that they just released this morning. And this is what Battlefield said. Open weapons versus closed weapons. Why not both? Starting at open beta, players can choose official playlists with signature weapons locked to class or not. More to come. So again, kind of funny that we're getting some beta details here, even though they haven't even confirmed that there would be a beta until this stage. Obviously there was going to be one, but we don't know when it's going to be exactly. But when it comes to this information, I think this is good to hear because there's been quite a bit of controversy that I have touched on in the past on this channel, and that is with Battlefield Labs, which is the closed internal alpha playtest for Battlefield. They weren't locking weapons to specific classes, and instead they were just providing benefits if you paired a weapon type with the appropriate class that it's designed to excel with. And this really didn't sit well with many in the Battlefield community. It's been a big controversial topic, and even as somebody that just dabbles with Battlefield, I thought this was a terrible idea as well. I think having weapons locked to classes, with maybe some classes that have some overlap here or there, that is a core part of the identity of Battlefield, and it's one of the big areas where 2042 went wrong. And many of us just want this next Battlefield game to be the best Battlefield that it can be, rather than trying to branch out and be something that it's not to attract a wider audience, and in doing so, pushing away their core audience, which is largely what happened with 2042. So ever since it was announced that this is the direction they were going in several months ago, there's been quite a bit of backlash, I think rightfully so, especially with how things went with the previous Battlefield game that didn't really excel as much as many Battlefield players would have liked. And unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, we got an update on the class system, and it was basically them just saying, we're sticking to it. And they provided some more details on how it would work, but they did not go back on the class lock, and they're still planning on just doing signature weapons where you get a little bit of a boost, but anybody of any class can use any weapon. And this really riled up the community even more because the whole purpose of Battlefield Labs was to listen to feedback in the community, and there was overwhelming feedback against this non-class lock system. So obviously many fans just felt like they were being completely ignored. It was the biggest piece of feedback and they just doubled down on it. So that's really where this tweet from this morning is coming in. It looks like they're recognizing the amount of backlash they're seeing here, and they're at least going to be providing an option to try out both systems, their new signature weapon system or the traditional class lock system. And then my guess is they're going to look at the data after that to see what people had a tendency to prefer overall, and that's likely going to help them make up their minds as far as which system they're going to be using at launch for the game. Which on one hand, it's nice to see at least some acknowledgement from them and some willingness to actually try class locked weapons in the beta. But on the other hand, perhaps I'm just a little bit jaded with how modern gaming is. I suspect this is more a move to just appease those players in the short term. They'll likely make their signature weapon system as the default option. And up until this point, the entire game was designed around the signature weapon system, not really around class lock, so there's probably going to be some conflicts and issues with how the game plays because it wasn't designed with class lock from the ground up. And then at the end of the beta, I suspect they'll be sharing their data and saying, see, it looks like people prefer our new signature weapon system, so that's what we're going to be sticking with. Again, maybe I'm just being a bit cynical here, but that's kind of how I see the situation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there will be overwhelming support for class lock weapons and they'll actually make the switch to that for the launch of the game. Or maybe once people get their hands on it, they will genuinely enjoy this signature weapon system and it will be the better system overall. Honestly though, I am quite skeptical that a change will be made and that they will have class locked weapons for the launch of the game. I think they will end up sticking to their signature weapon system. Maybe some tweaks will be made to improve it or something, but I think this is going to be the case for a couple different reasons. The first reason is they're really trying to reach out and appeal to the widest audience possible, and for many FPS fans out there, when they hop into a game and realize they can't use any gun with any class, that kind of pushes them away because they don't really understand the depth and how important it is to have those class lock weapons and how it really defines the Battlefield gameplay experience. And they don't want to see that. They want massive growth. They want to be able to appeal to everybody. But in doing so, I think that really alienates their core fan base, which is not a great idea in my eyes. Like I said, that was the failed experiment that they did with Battlefield 2042. And you would think they would learn from their mistakes there and not fall into that same trap. But it seems like that's the direction they're going in. However, again, the fact that they posted this tweet, maybe they're not actually falling into this trap. But there's another big reason that I don't think they're going to be scrapping this signature weapon system with no class lock, and that is monetization. These days, with live service games, it's all about selling weapon bundles and fancy skins for guns, and it's probably a lot harder to sell certain fancy skins if they can only be used with a particular class. So if somebody really just wants to play Assault all the time, and there's class-locked weapons, they're probably never even going to look twice at a sniper rifle in the store. But if weapons aren't locked, well, now they can use any gun in the store with their preferred class, and therefore maybe it's more likely they'll buy that. I really do think this is one of the big reasons that it's not likely that they're going to end up going with class-locked weapons at launch, regardless of how the beta goes. Again, maybe modern gaming has just made me a little bit too cynical here, but that's how I see the situation. Overall, when it comes to this new Battlefield game, I'm really looking forward to it. Signature weapons or not, I'm still looking forward to diving in, checking it out, and hopefully enjoying it. I really want to enjoy this game. Largely because of the current state of Call of Duty, I'm actively looking for places where I can branch out more, but I'm not going to branch out to a game that I don't enjoy. I'm only going to branch out if I genuinely enjoy the experience and if there's a decent audience for it as well. And this next Battlefield game is probably going to be our best shot at that for a while. So I'm going to be going into this really wanting to enjoy it. So I hope it's good. I hope it's a lot of fun. Signature weapons or not, I really want to have a good time with this. I'm looking forward to the beta. I won't be attending that event next week. I don't think Battlefield knows who I am because I rarely make any Battlefield content. But I'll be diving into the open beta. Definitely looking forward to it. And I am going to be giving both systems a shot. And I'd encourage everybody to do the same. Even for you guys that are hardcore Battlefield fans, you've been playing for a long time, and you're dead set on class lock weapons, I encourage you to at least try out the signature weapon playlist, because I think it's important to provide the most informed feedback possible. And if it turns out you end up hating it, well, now you've at least got some ammunition there, and you can talk about the things you didn't like about it with your actual playtime and experience. Or who knows, maybe you try it out and you realize it's not so bad, and you actually might even enjoy it a little bit. And this goes for the other way around as well. If you're somebody that isn't a fan of locked weapons, I'd still encourage you to check out the Class Lock Weapons playlist, and maybe it'll end up playing better. Maybe you'll start to see some great benefits of having a class lock system in Battlefield. So there we go. Those are just my thoughts on this whole situation. Definitely looking forward to diving in, class lock or not. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this whole situation with Battlefield and the whole controversy with locked weapons versus signature or unlocked weapons that can be used with any class? Do you have a strong opinion in either direction? And if so, let me know why in those comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.